Alright, what is up guys? So today we're doing the oil cooler or oil thermostat upgrade. So far on my way here I drove about 35 minutes. The oil temp is roughly 210 degrees. It was cooking at about 210 or 220 the whole way. It's 40 degrees outside. Got 1,000 miles on this oil change, so let's see if this makes a difference at all. Hopefully it does, because I need all the oil cooling I can get and all the cooling as well. So for now, I'm going to start with that. I'm going to do spark plugs as well. I'll walk you through that, but I'm pretty sure you guys know how to do that. So stay tuned. This is it right here. Nothing all that fancy and special, but it's billet. Came with the extra hardware bolts, the titanium ones I was telling you about. To be honest with you, based on the length of these versus the original ones that came out, you probably could have just reused them. To be quite honest with you, there is really no difference at all. It was just the way that they look with the old ones versus the new ones. When you take the old ones out, you're gonna need a E12 bit like this. It's got the star pattern, goes over here on there. And then you're also gonna need a 13 mil as well, although this doesn't have a number on it, but a 13 mil so you can get your oil cooler line off, so you can get from underneath it. I put a bunch of rags over here because I didn't want my serpentine belt to get all freaking covered up in oil and coolant. So start with that. It's only 3 bolts. You got 1 bolt here, 1 bolt here, and then 1 bolt down below. It's a little bit hard to get to, so I used a 1/4 inch ratchet with a 3/8 extension to be able to get it because it gave me enough room. You're gonna need your new oil cooler O-ring gaskets, which are on the floor, but that is the part number. That is the part number you're gonna need, along with this gasket as well. This is your oil thermostat housing gasket, so you guys can have that. You can also order it through FCP Euro, no big deal. But start by pulling all that off, and then you're gonna come in and replace your oil cooler gaskets. I would recommend doing it, but the little O-rings, very beneficial to replace at the same time, so you don't get any oil leaks. Grab your new gasket, throw it in, brake clean everything, make sure it's nice. All right, so right now I got almost all of the O-rings in. I'm just taking some of the oil that was inside of the oil cooler line and just rubbing it all over this O-ring. I already did on both of them. I also did it on the oil cooler gasket. It's better to have lubrication when you're going in so that way it seals nice and properly. So we'll start with that. The hardware that they include in here, if you spend the extra $100, they're just 10 mils. So no big deal. They're not any special Torx bit or anything like that, just 10 mils. They're titanium, so I guess they're special. But we'll go ahead and start putting that in. It's gonna be a little bit of a pain in the neck because you want to torque them down to, if I remember correctly, it was 8 foot-pounds. But we're just gonna have to mess around and find out now. That's crazy. So yeah, let's put this gasket back in since we did that. But we've already cleaned it out with brake clean. We ran through it, made sure it was nice. And as you can see, it's gonna seal like that all around all the rings or all the holes. This is an alignment pin. Down here is also an alignment pin. But you only need 1 of them. It's gonna sit in here like this, as I probably just had it upside down. So then grab your 10 mils. We're gonna put them, start feeding them through. Grab our second one here so you can get it started. You don't want to strip any of this out because then you'll have to buy a whole new set. A whole new oil thermostat housing and oil filter housing. You don't want to do that. And obviously, it's been a little bit of a pain in the neck, but it's okay. So now we got 2 out of the 3 started. the last one going up in here too. This one you kind of can't really see, but you just kind of feel it by hand. You'll feel it, and then you'll start to feel it going in the threads. To me, this is a lot better than the original setup, because at least you can get an extended 10 mil in here versus trying to get an E-Torx that is extended. It's a lot harder. So now we'll grab our ratchet. We're gonna make sure it's to the right. Go ahead and start torquing it down. Make sure you torque them down evenly. And just do them all at once, or one of them at once, and not just evenly go down through, or else the gasket will not seal properly. Make it snug. And then I'm gonna have to look up the torque specs on it, but I believe it's 8 Newton meters, or 11 Newton meters, which I think is 8 pounds or something like that. But don't quote me on that, I still need to look that up. So I'll catch back up to you in a second. All right guys, so we have it now installed. I'll be honest with you, I didn't torque them down to spec. I just made it so they were nice and tight and snug. As you can see, I just came through here and just went until it felt nice and tight. I mean, I don't know, personal preference. You can do them by torque spec if you want. I'll just add that in the description for you guys. But that's pretty much it. You use your 13 mil, factory 13 mil bolt that had the oil cooler rings, lines, not rings. Go up to the bottom of it, same 13 mil bolt that was down here. Nothing big, nothing special. You'll see that when it's fully tight, the O-rings that sit right here are fully seated up here, and you shouldn't really see them at all. And then if you see them like poked out or like squished or something out there, it means you didn't put any oil on them and you crushed them. So you need to replace that. As you can see, I also did not make that much of a mess. That's because I put all those microfibers underneath there, so that way it wouldn't get on the serpentine belt and cause it to slip, because we already know that that's a catastrophic thing with these motors. So along with that, I'm gonna let this thing warm up. I put new spark plugs in it today. I still have to put the cowl back on. I'm gonna take it for a nice drive on the highway, and then we're gonna see if it even made a difference at all. Because as I showed you guys before, it was still idling at 220 degrees. So hopefully it brings us down to about 200, maybe 190, but I highly doubt it's gonna be that low. But we'll see. So stay tuned for that part. Like, comment, subscribe. All right, guys, so it's been just about over a week now. That was a terrible downshift. Since I installed the billet oil thermostat housing. It is currently, after a good amount of back road driving, it's at 208 degrees oil temp. It is 44 degrees outside, so nothing that much higher or lower than it was the other day. I also have not really been on this before, so really don't know. But driving to and from work every day, it's been around like 195, 200 instead of being at 215, 220. So it helped at like 15, 20 degrees, but personally, I don't think it's worth your $400 or at least $300 minus the 3 bolts. If you were to buy this, maybe if you had their oil cooler setups that they have, but not currently with the stock oil thermostat or the stock oil cooler. It doesn't really do enough. But who knows? Maybe it'll be better when I'm on track, and I didn't really have that comparison to make. But they don't really specifically say how it saves you 60 degrees or makes you 60 degrees cooler, nor does it explain the conditions that they went through to test that. So your guess is as good as mine, but if it's worth it to you for the extra 5 to 10 to 15 degrees oil temp, then by all means go ahead and spend the money, but I can't say that it's really worth it. Also, if you guys like that, that's the beta for JB4 with the whole entire quick connect link thing. Wow, I rubbed in the back finally. But yeah, I wouldn't waste your money on it, guys. You're probably better off with leaving the oil thermostat housing open at all times, or maybe getting the little insert piece that you can get. But again, I don't really know how hot it would really get if maybe it keeps it cooler because it died. Maybe it keeps it cooler because people don't have stock oil coolers, but normally they came factory on the N54, so I don't know. But like, comment, subscribe, stay tuned for more content. Appreciate you guys watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.